Warning. Approaching vessel. Signature indicates it's a Filament Corporation vessel. No crew detected. Caution advised. Minimum distance of 200 nautical miles recommended. Rerouting trajectory. Approaching vessel. Docking request pending. Override acknowledged. Please click all the images containing an asteroid. Docking procedure initialized. 3, 2, 1. Docking complete. Welcome to your destination.
Hello? Someone there? Hi? You, in the dungarees. I can see you standing over there. Pick up the radio. Pick it up. Hello? 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 What do you know? You're a natural. Looks to me like you shut it down entirely, which makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. I never imagined how much the anchors would mess with the ship's systems when the others installed them. I guess they really fried some circuits down there, huh? On the bright side, I do now appear to have full access to the annex you're standing in. Now, I know it's a big ask, considering we just met and that I've already insulted you, but if you keep shutting down the anchors like that, I might have a real chance at getting out of here alive. What do you say? Oh, let me grab those doors for you. My name's Juniper, by the way. I get the feeling you aren't going to tell me yours, so I may just have to give you one. Filament Corp protocol is to allocate every loyal operative a color-based codename. Unfortunately, no one told you that you should just pick one color and stick with it. Honestly, what I'm seeing is a little bit of a mess, so I might need to take a different approach to naming you. Red and blue are heroic, and you are my hero. But those are taken, and with all due respect, you've got nothing on Vermilion and yours truly. When I was a kid, I used to love this book. I would read it over and over again. The main character was Pluto, a socially inept bear with a can-do attitude. He tried his best. So, that's what I'm gonna call you. Pluto. Yeah, I like it. It's so nice to have someone listening again after talking to myself for a few weeks. It feels so validating, you know? Like, all I needed was an audience to feel a little more grounded. Having the others around, we felt like a family. It's been so long since I had something like that. Now they're gone. Kind of feels like a dream now, or a blur. Maybe none of it was real. You're real though, right? It's fine if you're not. I just think we should be honest with each other. Huh? I imagine walking around this ship is a lot like going through a stranger's house. So allow me to put you at ease by introducing our little breakfast club to you. The headmaster, if you will, was Canary. She headed up research here. Then there was Marmalade and Aubergine. You'll have to blame Philcore for the names here. Those two were responsible for all the systems you see here on the ship. Real smart dudes. Then there was Vermilion. He was our well-being officer. He controlled our diets and kept us exercising. Kindest man I've ever met. And from Earth of all places. Finally, there was our botanist. Pistachio. Oh, and there's me, of course. The navigator. So, Pluto, despite having been here all but a single orbit, you're already making far more sense of these anchors than I ever did. This kind of thing was never really my area of expertise. If it wasn't helping me pilot my ship, then I wanted nothing to do with it. Not the best attitude, I admit. To tell you the truth, I'm still not sure what these things do. They're meant to stop some spike on some graph that I'm told was important, with the minor side effect that literally all systems are no longer remotely accessible. Useful, right? Huh? What's the first thing you noticed when you climbed aboard? I'll tell you what it is for me. The smell. I always imagined the smell on a ship like this to be, like, clinical, you know? But no. Like freshly cut grass. Something to do with the oxygen recycling, I'm told. Goes a long way to help you forget you're trapped in a metal box. If only for a second. The endless void out the windows brings you right back, though. Huh? So, I've been eating emergency calorie paste for the duration of my time in this cockpit. Do you happen to know how many flavors of emergency calorie paste there are? 2. There are 2 flavors of emergency calorie paste. Initially, I figured that eating a different flavor each day was a good plan, but retrospectively, this is not the case. I now hate both equally. One of these allegedly tastes like mangoes, whatever those are. Bet you can't guess what the other is, though. I'll give you a hint. It spoils when it knows it's being eaten. What do you know? It looks like you're actually getting somewhere. Go team. Every anchor you take down breathes life into my console up here. It's amazing. Currently, the bridge door is sealed off, but I think that if I get enough control back, I just might be able to force it open for you. That way, you can come up here and let me out, right? Of course, it's easier said than done, but we can cross that bridge when we get to it. Get it? Never mind. I've been wondering, Pluto, why your hands? Marmalade had similar augmentations to help with his engineering work, although yours don't look as heavy-duty as his. I thought that perhaps you were a scrapper? No. You certainly dress like one, but there's nothing to salvage this far out from the colonies. Well, I had an arm swapped out, in case you were wondering. My eyes, too. I'll admit that the arm was just to get back at my mom for something. Something stupid, I'm sure. I just wanted to drive her crazy. I don't even remember why. My eyes, though, that's a different story. I would never be where I am today without them. That said, maybe I should start regretting those too. Do you want to know why we were all the way out here? At the very edge of recorded space? We are Genesis, guiding humanity into a new age to fulfill our potential and alter the trajectory of our species forever. It all begins here, at the edge of the known universe. Those were the lines that got me. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a part of that? Sounds great, right? Well, let me tell you what those words really mean. How would you like to travel incomprehensibly far away from everything you've ever known? To assess planets for habitability, to allow less expendable people to form new colonies and guide humanity into a new age. Sounds great, right? Huh? You know, the more I look at those dungarees, the more I think they must be so darn comfy. I mean, why else would you choose to wear them, right? I get that. Unfortunately, dungarees aren't included in the Filament Corporation's stringent dress policy. Oh, it's been years since I last donned a pair. I find these filament uniforms really lacking in storage capacity. You might think that being the sole pilot and navigator of this vessel would make me the captain, right? Well, no, sadly. It's Filament Corp protocol to assign an off-ship captain, for reasons known only to them. I have a theory it's to prevent a mutiny once all the rations run out and we start eating paste. Our captain is called Swan. It's unfortunate, but the anchors seem to have completely fried all long-range comms, so we're cut off from her for the time being. She's sharp. She could have gotten us out of this, I'm sure. Oh, not that you aren't doing a fantastic job, by the way. Huh? Say, Pluto? While you're lumbering around and routing through all of our personal belongings, do you think you could keep an eye out for the cats? There were 5 last time I counted. Now, if you're thinking that 5 cats is a wholly unreasonable amount of cats to keep on a vessel like this, then we're very much on the same page. As I understand it, there was some sort of mix-up when the Alabaster was assigned a ship pet. The one we received just happened to be pregnant. I am not a cat person, so the sudden appearance of 400% more cat wasn't a welcome addition to my life. Still, I hope they're okay. As much as I hate those self-important furballs, Pistachio really had a soft spot for them. Huh? I got on well enough with the rest of the crew. They were good people, you know? Sure, Canary could be a bit abrasive. Although Vermilion proved to be a worthy intermediate between the two of us. And it did take a lot of work to get Aubergine out of his room sometimes, but they were good people. Mostly. Pistachio, though? We spent a lot of time together over the last few months. I know she wouldn't have left me here. Huh? These anchors? Marmalade had a big part in getting them up and running. You and I are still getting to know each other, but from what I can tell, you two have a lot in common. You're about as talkative as he was anyway. You know, we actually threw him a surprise party a few weeks after we arrived. There were decorations and everything. That might not sound like much, but out here, decorations can be a little hard to come by. We had to make them ourselves. I say we. Pistachio took the lead on that. You never believe it from her personality, but damn, Canary can bake! She made this unbelievable chocolate cake. We all had a pretty great time that night. We needed it. Marmalade especially. He wasn't in the best place after what happened with the spacewalk. So, during the journey over here, something small collided with the hull. Due to the fact that we were all sound asleep at the time, we can't know for sure what the cause was, but the damage seemed minimal. We were lucky. It could have been worse. Still, we figured the best course of action was to schedule a spacewalk to address the issue. As our only engineer, Marmalade didn't have much of a choice about whether or not to go outside. We have a buddy system in place, and he asked me to spot him. I've done my fair share of spacewalks. I knew what to expect. Marmalade, though, he was nervous. I could see him shaking while we suited up. It went okay at first. I did what I could to reassure him, and I thought he was holding in there. And he almost got himself killed. Unfortunately, Marmalade's accident was somewhat in vain. Not long after we arrived, I noticed the ship started to slip into a decaying orbit. It seemed likely that it was the result of the damage caused by the collision, so I was hopeful that our repairs would fix the problem. Not so. A few weeks later, it happened again. And again. And again. Not a clue as to why. When I told Vermilion about it, he said it sounded like a car with its wheel alignment off. Whatever that means. Have you ever started to get anxious that you're overlooking an embarrassingly simple solution to a problem? I was there. At one point, I found some old comics that I stacked on a control panel. I almost had a heart attack when I realized what I'd done. It was a relief to find the ship was still drifting after I moved them. Well, you know, kind of. I never did get to the bottom of why the ship was drifting the way it was. Not on my own, at least. Eventually, Canary either got sick of hearing about it, or began to get concerned that I was dropping the ball. She contacted the captain to ask for advice. Not what I would have done, but I got my answer. As it happens, it's a known issue in our model of ship. Crazy, right? More importantly, not my fault. The captain was great about it, too. She could have chewed me out for not reporting it sooner, but she didn't. You could always count on her for that, you know? Not really the iron fist type. A bit of kindness goes a long way. In the wake of Marmalade's accident, it was the captain that sanctioned the extra rations that allowed Canary to bake his birthday cake. She's a good egg. So, on the topic of cake, if the ship were a cake, I would start to express my concern for you about now. That is to say, you're about halfway done. Unlike a cake, though, your ultimate prize will be to clean up whatever mess marmalade and aubergine left in the bridge up here, rather than shame mixed with crippling health problems. I'd take my chances with the cake, given the choice. Between the dungarees and fast food stickers, something tells me you would too. Huh? I feel so cooped up in here. I was never one for Vermilion's mandatory workout regime, but I could really go for a run right now. Stretch the legs, you know? I have the most relentless ache. Oh, nothing like what cryosleep did to me, though. As navigator, it was my job to check we didn't stray too far off course while we slept. I had to wake up every few months to keep us on track. This petty ache is nothing compared to what I felt during those course corrections. Never been a morning person, but that gave a whole new meaning to waking up early. I remember, before we all went into cryosleep, we had to check our workstations along with our equipment and whatnot, just to make sure everything was in working order. It's not like if something was damaged, we could just order another. Pistachio wasn't interested in doing any of it. She had this special plant. I should really remember what it was called, as it quickly became the subject of daily conversation. Well, it only flowers something like every 10 years. And this particular plant, it was due to flower on our arrival. She was so excited. She spent all our prep time finding it the perfect spot and making sure it had everything it needed, so that when we arrived, it would be healthy and in full bloom. It never did flower, though. We checked the ship's footage from the flight. We hadn't missed it. It's a shame she never got to see it flower. Ever since being stuck here, I find myself staring down at the planet for hours on end. You'd think I'd get sick of it, but even now, there's just something about it I can't put my finger on. It just pulls me in. I know what you're thinking. Well, yeah, that's how gravity works. But it's more than that. I don't know. I haven't even told you about the probe yet. Huh? We spent weeks building the probe. Canary headed up its construction, The Lantern 2, it was called. We were all given a role to ensure its success. Mine was to plan its trajectory and pilot its descent. It felt good to work together on the probe, even if it was Canary overseeing it all. So far, all the information we'd gathered about the planet pointed to it being mostly habitable. It was exciting. We thought we were about to touch down on what could someday be humanity's next colony. Well, as per how we do things here, the probe launch did not go to plan. That's not quite accurate. The launch went fine. It was the landing that left a lot to be desired. Huh? The probe was crammed with equipment. There wasn't a piece of data this thing couldn't collect. But we wanted more than that. We wanted samples. The plan was that once the probe landed on the planet's surface, it would embark from one end of this ravine to the other. Pistachio chose the location. Along its way, it would collect a variety of samples. Once it reached its destination, it would launch a capsule of the samples into orbit for us to collect. Simple, right? So, back to the launch. All was good until the probe reached the planet's atmosphere, when instead of slowing down, it started speeding up. It just kept accelerating towards the surface. We couldn't do anything about it. We were sure it was going to crash. And then it just seemed to fall straight through the ground. What's more, it kept going. We lost signal maybe a minute later. Canary says the heat from entry must have fried its telemetry or something. My guess is that it was doing its best to get away from her. Huh? I'm sure you've been on your fair share of space vessels during your travels. Now, you may have noticed that the Alabaster has more origami swans than your average deep space vessel. Well, let me demystify you on the matter. Origami was one of Pistachio's fondest pastimes. Credit to her, she wasn't half bad. Her augmented hands probably helped her out. She started out making all sorts, but quickly found the swan to be her favorite. We'd find them in the weirdest places. She knew we all laughed about it. We'd be given multiple swans a week, all different sizes and colors. But honestly, that's just Pistachio. Everything she did was in the interest of making us feel good. I miss those swans. Do you want to know how this all started? I was just thinking about Pistachio some more. All of this, it started with her. After the failed probe launch, things started to go wrong. Equipment began intermittently acting funky, the ship was drifting more often, and Canary's readings of the planet were all over the place. Then Pistachio just disappeared. And I don't mean she ran off or anything. She literally just vanished. She wasn't on the ship anymore. All her stuff was still here, all the escape pods still in the bay. We searched. All we found were the clothes she was wearing on the floor in her lab. And her hands. Huh? It was Canary who first realized the planet had something to do with Pistachio's disappearance. After the probe, Canary increased the number of readings she was taking on the planet. She had seen an increase of anomalous readings across the board right up to the day Pistachio disappeared. Then they just stopped. For a time. Then the anomalies started to crop up again, but faster than before. We had to leave. If the timing of the anomalies before was anything more than coincidental, then we were in danger. I've never prepped a ship for long-distance travel so quickly before. Not that it mattered. We were all set to leave, but when we tried, we realized we couldn't escape the planet's gravity. It was like it had somehow gained mass. And every time we put more power to the engines, the planet would pull back. Only harder. Huh? When we realized that we couldn't distance ourselves from the planet, we had an emergency meeting with the captain. She was as reliable as ever, calm and collected. Our first instinct was to use the escape pods, as we thought they might be small enough to escape the planet's pull. She told us to hold tight, though. It was her that reminded us where we were. On the frontier. The middle of nowhere. Sure, we could probably escape, but we'd be light years away from civilization, in a canister, with minimal rations and no cryosleep pods. Besides, what if I was wrong and they couldn't escape the pull either? If we could, we had to keep the alabaster. Aubergine and Marmalade had started work on something as soon as they realized that we were stuck. They pitched it to the captain in that meeting. They called them anchors. Huh? With the captain's permission, Aubergine and Marmalade began their work developing the anchors. They never really stopped to properly explain them to me. Just said that they were designed to block out whatever magic space waves took Pistachio. Oh, that and their short range. Gotta have them everywhere to cover the whole ship. Canary helped them, running around, performing tests, advising them on this and that. I couldn't help. I'm no engineer, no scientist. What was I supposed to do? To level with you, in that moment, I didn't want to help them anyway. I just lost Pistachio. I couldn't care less about helping ourselves. They tore the place apart installing them. Panels, vents, furniture. Nothing was safe from those two. Cables everywhere. I was always tripping over them and then taking my anger out on whoever was closest. Not fair of me, I know. I was in a bad place. Not proud of how I acted at that time. Soon enough, the anchors were all over the ship, with just one place left to cover: the bridge. That actually meant I could be somewhat useful. I had to pull myself together, sit in the cockpit, and keep tabs on the ship's systems. Make sure the anchors were integrating properly. What could go wrong? The door was already closed when they flipped the switch. I sealed my own fate with that one. My whole console flared up and then shorted out. It was bright enough that the terminal keys left an imprint on my vision. To make things worse, I spilled my coffee in the process. I tried running out to the bridge to tell the others, but the door wouldn't open. I kept just mashing the release button. Nothing happened. I never really felt claustrophobic before, but in that moment I did. I had to calm down, slow my breathing. It took Vermilion yelling through the door to finally get my head back together. Then, all I could do was wait. Huh? We spent a few days trying to get the door open. I'm not sure what the others were doing, but the noise, it was unbearable. The cockpits on research vessels like this act as a safe room of sorts. They couldn't get the door open from the outside, and I wasn't able to reverse the effect of the anchors from here. Oh, if only it were aubergine or marmalade in here. Might have been different. Then, after a few days, the noise, it just stopped. They left. I don't blame them. Things were quickly getting worse. There was no way to know how long until the next disappearance. No doubt I would have left given the chance. So yeah, like I said, I don't blame them. If I'm reading the lights on this panel correctly, which I better be, seeing as this is both my job and, for the last few weeks, my only pastime, I'd say you can get into the bridge now. Woo! Sorry, I couldn't help it. It's all so exciting! Let's go. If you get yourself to the bridge door, we should be able to get this thing open. Huh? I really thought that would work. Alright, okay. I think I know what's up. I'm going to need you to do one more thing. You're gonna have to go down to the escape pods and reset the breaker. You'll need this code to get in. Ready? Here goes. 4, 5, 10, 2. Huh? 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 So the breaker? It's just over by the corner and... what the... Oh my god. They didn't leave. I... just... pull the lever in the corner. The bridge is now open. Welcome to the bridge. I'd like to say this is where the magic happens, but in this context, the magic would be an inability to drive away from a dangerous planet and save my friends. Otherwise known as my only job. Make yourself at home. There's whiskey everywhere. ever think about where you would be right now if you'd taken a different line of work? Not here, probably. You're clearly a smart guy. You could have made it big on one of the colonies, you know? Held down a desk job, pushed pencils for the higher-ups. Would have been more stable. Safer. You could have started a family. You don't have a family, do you? How can you still want to help me after what you saw downstairs? I thought for sure that you would leave, but here you are. Persistent. You're nothing if not persistent. Not many people in your position would go to all the effort. Not many people would try as hard as you have. I appreciate it, I do. You're doing a good thing for me. Wish I could say the same. wish I'd never taken this job. I never imagined this is where it would lead. It's just... I mean, if the Filament Corporation offers you a job, you take it. Otherwise, what work is out there, really? At least, that was what I heard growing up. I guess you're not really the right person to talk about this, are you? Maybe a little late to bring this up, but maybe I'm just not worth saving. There's not a whole lot I bring to the table that someone else couldn't do. I wasn't particularly useful when my crew needed me. I just said what I could to try and keep morale up, knowing full well there was nothing I could do to help. Kinda like what's happening here now. Me sitting here saying things. You, on the other side of this door, doing things. Hey, would you look at that? You're just a step away. You know, I don't know whether I'm ready to meet you yet. There's still a part of me that thought we would never get here. I'd kind of come to terms with my fate. But now, I guess I've got to prepare myself for what comes next. You really are something, you know. Never met anyone quite like you. Well, I guess we haven't met yet. Grab that last anchor and come on up. All right. This was always going to be difficult. I don't know why you had to do this. What were you thinking? Boarding a filament ship like that? If you just minded your own business. I tried, you know. They're always watching me, but I tried. Now here we are. I had to do this. You understand that, right? Now I'm out of options. It's not up to me anymore. I have to go now. Goodbye, Pluto.